Okay. Welcome back to Blue and Gray, the first episode in a long time. I believe we have a sponsor for you, fake sponsor.
We do. We don't say it's fake.
Oh, no, real sponsor.
This is definitely a real sponsor. Death and Taxidermy for all your human taxidermy needs. Keep your loved ones with you. Scare the shit out of your neighbors and friends.
There are only two things you can avoid. No, cannot avoid in life, and that's death and taxidermy. Okay, so we've had a long break, and a lot of that is just due to the fact that I have been shit about my spare time. It takes a lot of time to, edit, cut together episodes. We're trying a new thing to keep this thing going. I'm just gonna talk. Sean's gonna talk, and I'm not gonna cut it up. I'm not gonna do a bunch of post work, and hopefully it ends up being listenable. And also, we recorded a bunch of stuff, a lot of talking, like hours of footage talking about like the Black Lives Matter movement, and the protests that I went to, and it was just unmanageable. We stand in solidarity. We support it, and it's better if I don't talk about it because it will end up going on for hours. And finally, I feel like we should probably just stick with pumping out a song, talking about it. I mean, that's why we're really here. I think that's like the main appeal of this thing, is that we make our own music and then we talk about it. So
yeah, it's about the music. Hopefully at one point we'll get back to being able to be doing fully live versions of songs, because that was the original concept, right?
Yeah.
And we would play it live with very little editing afterwards. I mean, of course a little bit, but now we're kind of just, because we can't get drummers over here, so we've just been doing what we can with it. This song is my song. Kind of came from a request, but I'll talk about it after you hear it. So anyway, this song is called Time to Go.
right, we're back.
We are back. All right, I guess dig right into the song. So I wrote that song maybe 15 years ago. Actually, probably longer than that. I wrote it. My friend's mother passed away, and I wrote it for him. And I never recorded it before. I've always sort of thought of it as something that I shouldn't record. Like, I don't know, like a little too personal or something. I did play. I would, anytime someone passed away, or even like a pet passed away or something, I would like play the song because it just had this funereal sound to it. Originally, it was just on acoustic. So we basically made up an arrangement with electric guitar and bass, mainly because my acoustic guitar was in the shop being worked on, and then the person who worked on it actually was like had tertiary contact with someone who had COVID-19, so he had to self-quarantine until his test result came back. So I didn't have an acoustic guitar. So we wrote this arrangement of it. It's much different, but hopefully it retains the same feeling. And the reason I decided to record it, my ex-wife's mom, my ex-mother-in-law, passed away, and she actually sent me a text saying she wanted a recording of it. I don't know if I'm going to send this one to her. I mean, I think she would actually hate this recording of it because it's like, it's so like it would be better as an acoustic song, and I think that's what she thinks of it as. So if I were to send her this version, I'm pretty sure she'd be like, "What the F is this? This is not the song." Or maybe she'd love it. I don't know. That's why we're not married anymore. I have no idea. No idea what her tastes are. Like, I always think she'll hate something and she loves it, and I always think she'll love something and then she just kind of blankly stares at me. So I don't know. It was, I don't know. It was nice recording it, I guess, and having a recording of it, because I hadn't recorded it in a long time.
Yeah, I like the idea of like writing a song and having it only lives when you're playing it, and then that's it. Yeah,
I like that. I don't know if ephemeral is the word, but something, or like folk, like traditional folk songs back in the day weren't really recorded. You know, it was just people played them. Like, I even think back to like when, before there were recordings, there would be like piano parlors, right? And people would buy sheet music of popular songs and play them for people. And that's, for a long time, the only way people heard music. I think that's kind of interesting. Like, before there was recordings, you had to either go see an orchestra play it or the artist perform it, or you had somebody who knew how to play piano play it at a piano parlor, and everyone would sing along. And I kind of like those oral traditions where like it makes it more special in a way, where like you can't consume this, you know, like you have to find it or perform it yourself.
It's not really, it's less of a commodity that way.
But I commodified this song, I guess.
You're a sellout. For how much did you get for it?
Nothing. However, it was for a good reason. My ex-mother-in-law was really the only mother I had for a long time after my mom passed away. So I'm sad that I couldn't have seen her or talked to her before she passed away. But at least I can do this.
Yeah.
Which is so depressing. Ugh. But the song itself, when I went to my friend's mom's funeral, it was I think it was one of the first funerals I had ever gone to, which is crazy. I was in my mid-20s. I was like 25 or something.
Yeah.
And it was a Jewish ceremony, so they take sand from Israel and throw it on the coffin before they bury it. So there's the homeland's on there. There's a line in the song where I say, when you've thrown all the sand to throw, is alluding to that. It seems like a kind of esoteric thing that I'm saying in this song, but I'm talking about the tradition. And I think I originally had a verse about placing stones, because you don't bring flowers to Jewish cemeteries. You place stones on top of the tombstones. But I felt like that came later. Like I wanted it to be more of like an immediate song. She was sick for a long time, and he did literally pull her plug. You know, he had to make that decision. That's a really tough decision to make. My dad was really sick too, and we decided to pull the plug, but nothing. He was still be able to breathe, so it was like a long, agonizing thing to watch somebody just die, you know. And I'm fortunate in that nobody like super close to me has passed, except like my grandparents, and then my uncle got cancer, you know, a while back, but like nobody like in my immediate family, none of my like best friends, nobody that was like a huge part of my life, you know, growing up has died yet. So I don't know how I'm gonna deal with it when it finally happens, and especially with a parent. Yeah, I don't think I'll handle it well. I just handled it by drinking a whole bunch. You know, like I feel like, I mean, if anyone out there has a loved one who's sick or terminally ill, you know that a lot of your grieving happens while their health is declining. But I do think drinking was a bad way of coping with it, you know, because like I remember when I finally did get clean for a little bit, that like even though my mom had passed 7 years before that, I had to like re-mourn it, because I never really dealt with the emotions of it. Like I think anyone has a substance abuse problem, once they get clean, it's the first time really experiencing emotions, because you instead of going through that grieving process where, you know, like what are the 7 stages of grief? Do you know what they are?
Not all of them.
Like
well, anger's one of them.
Denial, anger, all those things. You really do need to like process all those things, and when you just sort of numb yourself to it, you still are going to have to do it eventually. So, I don't know. It's crazy. Like as morbid and depressed as I've always been, even as a kid and everything, I kind of like fantasize having some sort of tragic life. You know what I mean? Like, I like when somebody would lose their parents, I would like immediately feel different about them. Feel this kind of like, not pity, but like that they're suddenly interesting and emotionally and deep, you know, and like they have like a better connection with the world, and like they have this I don't know what the best word to use is. It's like a wisdom to them, you know, an understanding of what life is from beginning to end when you have somebody pass away in your life. And now that I've lost, you know, both my parents, I realize that's
it's not the case.
It's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's
you just
not.
Feel sad.
No, yeah, and nobody cares. Like no, like
I care.
I mean, yeah, people care, but like,
right.
It's not that big of a deal. I mean, particularly you're older. Like if I was in high school and I lost my parents, or even in college, that when you're that young, it's a little more tragic. But when you're in your 30s, it's like
It's a little earlier than you think, but like it's still. I think like the first death that's not like a family death that's gonna really hit me hard is my dog, because that's gonna suck. He's like several years old now, so I've got some time. But
yeah, when I had the year after I got divorced, and exactly 1 year after my dad passed away, I had to put my dog down too. And it's weird because it's like when a dog dies, it's like, or a pet dies, they're so innocent, you know?
yeah.
You know, like that it's sadder in a way because you felt like you let them down, like you let them die, right?
Oh.
Whether like when my parents died, I there was a certain degree of abandonment kind of things, but like, and it was sad, but like when a pet dies, it's like you're responsible for that pet. And like I remember I had to go meet with my ex-wife to put him down, and he was really bad, and it was just, I remember her being upset and saying I wish maybe we could have done something different and he wouldn't have gotten this bad, or I wish we didn't let him get this bad. And it was weird because it was very, very, very sad in a different way than when a person dies, but almost in a more sharper sadness, you know, like with like it like immediately sad and then a few days later you're okay. But like with the death of a loved one, it's like it's super sad, but just larger and more abysmal. And like you might like you can't understand what's happening, and it's just, oh man,
I imagine
it's so sad that we're talking about death.
No,
But
I mean, whatever.
That's what the song's about.
Yeah. I imagine it's like just a very heavy, clouded feeling, like like muted. I don't know, like you'd feel like things are muted.
For me, it felt like I wasn't, like everything felt alien for a while. Like I was like I didn't exist, or I was in some kind of dream state for a while. But I mean, that's also probably the amount of drinking I was doing at the time too, kind of numbed me. But I feel like every time a death happens and you don't process it right, you kind of feel more and more like you're in a dream. I just feel like I'm in a dream. All the crappy stuff that's been happening just makes me feel like I'm going to wake up.
Death does have a way of, like, when something like that happens, putting some like really weird, like I feel like the curtain is drawn back on the world, and then you're confronted with this thing of how weird it is that there's like random physical particles just tumbling around in the universe, and then it turns into a sentient thing. So it's not necessarily like something from nothing, but kind of is. I mean, like subjectivity. I don't believe that subjectivity exists in, say, a book. It's just material. It's a material object, and there's no sentience in it. But if you put together certain particles the right way, and then kind of flick them down the hill of chemical processes, then suddenly you have a person with like a subjective experience. And then when they die, that just disappears. I don't believe in an afterlife. And you don't either, really, right?
I don't, but it is really interesting when particularly when my mother died, I can see why people believe it. I mean, it's comforting to think that she's happy and healthy somewhere finally. Like that really is comforting for me, rather than her just ending. Because I remember she was a people pleaser, you know, like everything she did was for everyone else. And I remember at the last few weeks of her life, she was upset and said that she always thought that at one point it was going to be her turn, that she was taking care of my sick dad.
That's so sad.
And taking care of her alcoholic son, and like doing everything for everyone else while we just sat around like selfish pricks. And she just thought at one point it'd be her turn to be taken care of, and then she got sick and died. And I so for me, it's very, very comforting to think that she is somewhere, you know, being taken care of and not having to worry about anything. But
for me, I want to be careful with the way I say this, but I've been alive a long time. I feel like I've been alive a long time. And it's not that I don't like being alive. It's not that I want to die, but I feel like, oh my God, I have like many years ahead of me. So like when I finally do pass, I think people should be able to take comfort in the fact that I don't need to keep doing it. Like I don't want to be alive for eternity. I want to be alive for a regular amount of time and value the time that I'm here and do the things that I enjoy doing. And then once that's over, I don't. It seems like a strange form of existential torture, or like a weird psychological hell to exist like that for eternity, for like the rest of it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's, if life was just a little more enjoyable, you know, like more like, I mean, particularly right now with the state of the way the world is, like I know everyone's going through, there's probably a national mental health crisis that is happening right now, and probably will just continue to get worse because, you know, we're trapped inside, things are shut down, we're losing jobs, we're losing loved ones, we are the things that we hold meaningful to us have been taken away and or rendered meaningless, at least for me. And I was already having a hard time before this whole thing started. So like I really need a bone. I need him to throw me a bone. You know, like I think since the last time we did a podcast, I've been completely laid off. I was on furlough, and they called and said, not taking you back. And I don't have my unemployment yet. There's problems with that going on. So it's just sort of like, it's not fun to be alive right now, you know? So like I
want to interject with like the reason that this podcast is called Blue and Gray is, well, one, your name is Gray, your middle name, but we didn't choose it because of the Civil War or anything. I feel like that it's very heavily associated with the Civil War, but that didn't even come to mind. It's when we were thinking about it, but it's very much because those are the colors that are typically associated with depression. So
yeah, so along with talking about music, we're going to talk about depression. Oh man, this is a downer of a podcast.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
The same thing happened last time too.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's just because where we are. Hopefully everything will get better. I guess we're going to do a live outro now.
Yeah. Let's do it. Hold on.
What do you want to do? What are you playing?
Why don't we end it on the funny note with your funny song?
That's what we're going to do?
Yeah. I'm going to try to play along with it, and then...
All right, this is, of all the songs I wrote, everyone says this is my best song, and it's by far the stupidest one I've ever written, and I apologize for the language in it.
When did you write this? 'Cause
I wrote this when I was in college, so probably almost 20 years ago, probably about 20 years ago. Okay. suck my dick, 'cause I've been sucking on this for so long. Sucking it hard, sucking it long. The whole world suck my dick. If they're done, they can bend over and suck their own